Shabbat Shalom.
Let's all take a big, deep breath. Sing a little bit to welcome Shabbat. Hine ma tov manayim, sheberachim gam yachad. 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 Hine ma tov manayim, sheberachim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
I gotta do better than that. Let's try it again.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Excellent work. Excellent. Hi, and welcome to Shabbat services this evening at Temple Emanuel. I am Rabbi Emily Hyatt. This is Steve Brodsky, our cantorial soloist and musical director. That's Ken Mervine, our accompanist this evening. And we are very happy to be here praying with you this evening. Is it over? Is Passover over? Did we do it?
Almost.
Oh, boy.
Almost. The sun hasn't officially set,
We're really close.
but we're really close.
Before we get started with our service this evening, just a couple of housekeeping announcements. First of all, should you need the restroom during services, you're going to go out the main doors in the back and turn right. They're going to be down the hall. And should there be any reason why we need to get out of the sanctuary quickly in case of an emergency, the slats under the exit signs on both doors actually lead to a door that will take you outside. So that's where we will go. And all of the words that you need are going to be up on this screen. So we are excited to welcome in Shabbat. What a week. Let's do one more of those big, deep Shabbat breaths. Yeah. And with that, it is my honor to call up Auden Carber's immediate family and Madison Clark's immediate family. You guys are going to come up and help us to light candles so that we can help bring Shabbat in by adding light into the world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner
Mazel tov to all of you, and we will see Auden and Madison in a little while to do Kiddush. You guys can go back to your seats. Thank you for celebrating with us this evening in honor of these big moments.
Can I just say a quick word? I noticed some of you had your cameras out. I know you want pictures. I know you want to remember this moment forever, but we also want you to be here present with us, not hiding behind your camera. So we're recording the service. It will be archived forever on YouTube, and you can watch again anytime you want. So put your camera away, turn it off, turn your phone off, put it away. Let's get ready for Shabbat and welcome it together, and I'll be really present this evening.
Thank you, Steve. And with that, we are going to prepare to bring in Shabbat. This day of rest, this day of wonder and awe, of holiness and light, is a chorus of the heart, a sacred rhythm of meditations, to invite holiness and welcome light, to remember God's gifts and welcome the Sabbath Queen, to sanctify the home and honor each other, to bless our children and remember creation, to pray and sing in joy and thanksgiving, and to remember the glory of Jerusalem, to hear words of Torah and study with open hearts, to share our bounty with others and rest under a canopy of peace, to yearn for the world to come and to know the difference between holiness and the mundane.
Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Let's try that together. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'zamer l'shimcha Elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'zamer l'shimcha Elyon. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. It's good to give thanks, to give praise, and sing songs to your name, Holy One. It's good to give thanks, to give praise, and sing songs to your name, Holy One. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat.
Right now, we have actually two parts of the service on a Friday night. We have Kabbalah Shabbat, which is our first part, and then later we get into what we call Ma'ariv, which is our evening service. And Kabbalah Shabbat literally translates to receiving Shabbat, the reception of Shabbat upon us. And when we sing Lecha Dodi, which is this prayer that we're going to sing next, that's what we're doing. We are standing here grateful that this moment of peace is going to descend upon us. And so we sing Lecha Dodi with great joy and anticipation.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה together לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד
אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נשוכה סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
התעוררי, התעוררי כי באורך תומי אורי
אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה We rise as we are able, and we turn to face the entry to the sanctuary to welcome the Shabbat bride. Oi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala, lecha dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. We remain standing for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai dai
Blessed is evening's fall, the heavens' transformation, the ever-changing seasons. Blessed is the imperceptible movement of one moment into the next. Notes in a seamless melody you are composing for us even now. Blessed is the light that dances through the darkness, warming us in the radiance of a new day, returning to greet us once more. Blessed is the darkness that swaddles and bathes us in your dark beauty, comforting us with the sweet promise of liberation at long last. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Blessed is the one who brings on evening's fall.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law together. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. For you are blessed, the one who loves your people, Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, seated. We'll continue together in chanting Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam beshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
God did not lead us by the nearer way when Pharaoh let the people go at last, but roundabout by way of the wilderness. Pillars of fire and cloud marking night and day to the edge of the flood tide, uncrossable and vast together. If God had led us by the nearer way, we cried, we wouldn't die here. Let Egypt oppress us as it will. Let us return to the past. But we have come out by way of the wilderness in fear, on faith, free now. Because we say we are free, no longer the unchosen, the outcast. God did not lead us by the nearer way, but into rising waters, which do not part unless with an outstretched arm we step forward and stand fast. Roundabout by way of the wilderness, we have come blessed with love to bless our God, who did not lead us by the nearer way, but roundabout by way of the wilderness.
Adonai mi kamocha Kedar b'kodesh Norah tehilo Osef eleh Norah tehilo Osef eleh Malchutecha ra'u banecha Bokei hayam Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'eli Anu ve'ameru Adonai imloch leolam ba'ed Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha Kedar b'kodesh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Yalai lalai lai Yalai lai 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 Yalai lalai lai Yalai lai 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 Yalai lalai lai Yalai lai 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 Yalai lalai lai Yalai lai lai lai.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May this night spread over us a canopy of calm, lifted by the blessing of rest. There will come a time when the morning will bring no word of war, famine, or anguish. There will come a dawn to rejoice in the peace of mind, heart, and being. Praised are you, the source of renewal within us, for the night's rest and for the promise of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
There is a chain of both unimaginable delicacy and infinite strength, bound 13 times from head to heart to hands to you. It stretches further back than time until it reaches those who first cried out your name. I see them in the mirror, hear their voices in the night, feel their joy, and taste what they found bitter as if it were iron on my tongue. Together we are whole. Together we remember. And so we sing your praises. And we rise as we are able for our tefillah.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Very quick word before we move into Avot V'Imahot and then right into Gevurot. It's Passover, it's the end of Passover, and this marks the distinction in our calendar year between winter and summer. And there's one line in the Gevurot where during the 6 months of winter, we thank God for the wind that blows and the rain that falls. But now we're into summer, right? Suddenly, 83 degrees here in Denver today. It's summertime. And so instead we say Morid Hatal, blessing God for making the dew to fall. So. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, lema'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer, u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umidom elach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. We take a moment now to think of all of those in our lives and in our world who are in need of our prayers. Prayers for healing, prayers for recovery, prayers for strength. And we bring them into this space with us as we pray for them and think of sending our love out to them wherever they may be. In our congregation, it's our tradition that we have 2 verses of this prayer. We'll sing the first. We'll read some names that we know. We'll ask you to read or say any other names that you're thinking of, and then we'll sing the second part of the prayer together.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Today we are praying for Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, Jean Silber, Scott Englander, Stacy Hoffman, Phyllis Schulman, James Tepper, Alan Davidson, Douglas Hamilton, Ira Levine, Leslie Rohde, Kara Smoley, Richard Seedroff, David Freed, Rick Gratch, Betty Heller, Marcine Goldman, Marianne Tiedemann, Renee Borton, David Cantor, Alex Busnovetsky, Lori Goldman, Laura Culver, Carol Weiner, Jared Siegel, Arnold Brodsky, Yana Vishnitsky, Peggy Lehman, Rebecca Zuckerman, Gary Potashnik, Murray Unell, Sheila Rosenberg, Carol Plotka, Art Malman, Jerry Fellman, Marissa Tabak, and Sean Krupp. If there are others for whom you are praying today, I invite you to say those names out loud. It helps to say them. If you're at home, say them out loud, type them in on Facebook, hold them in your heart. We hold them with you. And in addition to all of those individuals, we are praying for so many in our world right now, those who have been displaced and wounded and hurt on the other side of the world in Ukraine, those in Russia who we don't know their stories because they can't tell us, those who are suffering from COVID still, those who were scared in Washington, D.C. today or injured. And so we pray for each and every one of them and so many other things that we can't list. Baruch atah Adonai makor harefuah, blessed are you Adonai, the source of all healing.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We take a moment now for silent prayer.
Yehiyu leratzon, imrefi, vehegyon libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzon, imrefi, vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegali. Yehiyu leratzon, imrefi, vehegyon lefanecha, yehiyu leratzon, imrefi, vehegyon libi lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, vegoali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, vegoali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, vegoali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, vegoali.
Good to be back. Confession. We don't usually do that on Friday night in synagogue, but we're going to go with it. Confession is, for those of you that, well, actually probably pretty much any of us, I had this week the kind of week as a parent where I ended the week. Here we are, we're ending the week together. And I pause and look back and think, wow, I did not nail it this week. It was spring break. I don't know some of you, hi. I have a 5-year-old, a 5.5-year-old, and he is on spring break this week. And he was supposed to have a camp, and for a million reasons that I will not bore you with, he did not have camp. And so I had a full week, actually 2 days last week also, where I had no childcare. And then my brother's family, who usually helps, they got sick. It was a whole balagan. So I ended up with 7 days that I had to figure out what to do with my 5-year-old. And he's the best. His name is Neil. He really likes to be at temple. He really likes to participate in temple, in anything that we do here. We made it through a couple of days. And then we got to yesterday, and I had nothing. I had nobody that could help me except for like a little block. And he came here, and everybody pitched in. He changed all of the angles of every camera that you're watching through right now. He ran up and down the aisles of this sanctuary. He played everywhere in this building with just about everything there is to play with. And I'm grateful for the village that helped me. And when I'm looking at this week that I had, I can't help but think this was not my best week. This was not my best week as a parent. I don't feel like I taught him anything. I don't feel like I did anything fun with him over spring break. I feel like maybe I was a little bit, I don't know, maybe I let him down. And if he doesn't think I let him down, I think I let him down. And so I'm sitting here thinking about, how do I recover from this? How do I change the way that I made it through, that I navigated this week? And so as this has been what's been in my mind for the last day, I want to share with you this tradition that we have in the Jewish community that we're about to do. And it's a very strange thing that we do. We do what's called counting the Omer. And when I'm done talking, we're going to actually count. So get out your counting fingers and buckle up. But the Omer, the counting of the Omer, is a tradition that we have that goes from Passover, the second night of Passover, and we're in the holiday right now, right? We're finishing as we speak. And it goes all the way to our next festival, which is called Shavuot. Now, here's what's cool about the Omer, is that every day we count 7 weeks, which is how many days? Good math. You know how many days are in the week and how many weeks, how many days add up to 7 weeks. And it's technically the 50 days that exist between Passover and Shavuot. And we count them, and every day we say a blessing and we do a little counting, which we'll do in a few minutes. But what's really fascinating to me is the reason why we do this. Why, as a bunch of fairly educated people, we all of a sudden, for 50 days in the middle of the year, start counting the days from one holiday to the next. We don't count from any other holiday to any other holiday. So why do we do it? That's the best question. Originally, it was agricultural. Passover, you would plant the wheat, I think, and at Shavuot, you would harvest it. I think that's how it worked. In fact, Rabbi, not farmer, but I think that's what happened. And it was in anticipation of the harvest. And so the counting was joyous. It was full of hope for a good harvest. It was a good thing. It was a happy thing. It was a hopeful thing. And you can imagine, if you have to put in your mind, not just that we were counting for the harvest, if we're doing anything that has to do with the harvest, it necessarily means that we own a field to plant. So when we were harvesting, we lived somewhere and we stayed somewhere. We were in a place. And then, if you know anything about Jewish history, what happens? We don't live there anymore. We get kicked out, and we leave, and we go into what we call exile. And then it would be very strange if we spent time counting the days of someone else's harvest, because we haven't all landed in places where we're planting wheat at Passover. And yet our tradition matters to us. So what do? We come up with a new reason to count. And so the rabbis decided that we were going to count because on Passover, we came out of Egypt, we went to freedom. And on Shavuot, 50 days later, we celebrate receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai from God to the people. There were 50 days in between there, says our tradition. And so we count those days. So it's no longer about the wheat, it's about the Torah and the receiving of the Torah. And so now, not only do we have this really physical hope and joy, we have this whole other experience of spiritual preparation. Why? Can you imagine what it was like to come out of Egypt? Even though we sang these joyous songs the day we became free people, do you think that we were ready to do anything except for stumble through the desert? Slavery's terrible. You don't just shake off the chains of bondage and move along right into your wheat planting. You gotta get yourself together. You gotta recover. You have to heal. And so we have the physical preparation of the planting. That's reason one, the agriculture. And then we have the spiritual preparation, going from bondage to freedom. From slavery to Torah. We do that every year. We count 50 days. It takes us 50 whole days. And we weren't even actually there. But we still count to make ourselves ready. And then what happens? Of course, something else happens in history, and the entire tone changes. What happens in history? A story that probably you haven't heard of. In 135 CE, there's a whole bunch of students of Rabbi Akiva who are very mean to each other, says our tradition, and they got punished with a plague and lots of people died. And it happened during the counting of the Omer. So now the Omer is sad. Did anybody here grow up in a home where you got a haircut before Passover? And that was a really important part of your tradition. That was really important when I was growing up. You got new clothes and you got a haircut before Passover because we decided there were these other traditions of mourning that we were going to add when we got to this story of the plague and the death, and it changed the tone of this 50 days. And so when you're in a period of mourning, Jewish people often don't cut their hair. So now we don't cut our hair during the Omer. It's no longer hope and anticipation and joy. It's grief and mourning for this moment that happened 2,000 years ago, but which we still remember. And then, May 5th, 1948, the State of Israel is established in the middle of the morning. What are we supposed to do now? It's a sad time. What do? Well, we have to celebrate. Yeah. And so now we have this 50-day period that has the joy and the hope and the anticipation of the agriculture. And it has the spiritual preparation and the healing and the recovery from slavery to freedom. And we have the mourning of this story that happened where people died and we feel grief and sadness. And we have the joy of the establishment of the modern state of Israel. And here's the point. Jewish tradition doesn't erase any one of those. We are not a people that says it's no longer about agriculture, it's about Torah. It's no longer about Torah, it's about grief. We say it's about all of it. We just start to build on top of what we've already built. And so here we are at the beginning of our counting. I don't know what day we're on. 7, thank you. We have 7 days in. So we've got a lot more to go. And what I'm learning from this year is that just because I had a bad week doesn't mean I have to erase it. I can change it. I can build on it. That's what our tradition teaches us to do, to take what we have done and been, who we've been, what we've created and accomplished, where we've failed, and add to it. So this week was not my best mom week. And I don't know if next week is going to be amazing. Thank God my child is going back to school. But I can add to it. I can add to the story. And it turns out that much like the last 3,000 years in which we have counted the Omer, we've counted this 50 days, it turns out that his whole life is going to be a series of things that are added up. Weeks that were rough and weeks that were amazing, moments that were beautiful and moments that were hard. And probably he's better off with all of that adding than if we tried to take any of it away. And maybe it's not just me that can count that way this year. We're living in a world that feels a little hard. We're living in a world that the amount of news and information and complicated reporting that we take in on a daily basis it's a lot. It's a lot to just keep absorbing. And I keep waiting for it to change. I keep waiting for a new time, a new period of time to start, a new week, right? I want to stop and I want to get rid of it and I want to start over in a place that doesn't feel like we're all still exhausted and overwhelmed and depleted. But that's not what our tradition teaches us to do. It tells us that we don't erase what was, we add to it, we build on it, we value it for what it was, and then we figure out how to give ourselves, create for ourselves, do for ourselves what we need for the world, what it needs. So maybe as we count the Omer this year, and if you are participating in the counting with us, as you have the option and opportunity every time we count to reflect just a little bit, perhaps what you will also do is think about not just how you can add for you, add a day, and add a piece of the story to the whole story that you're building in your life with your families and your friends and your communities, but also how we can add to the story of our world. Do a little more, fix a little more, heal a little more. I have a feeling we can. There's a lot of people in here. If we all took a little bit of effort every day to add, I think we could make a big difference. And so with that, I hope that you will add a day with us. I'm going to ask Steve to come and lead us in the counting of the Omer on this 7th day.
Okay.
Did you get any work done when Neil was here wreaking havoc in the office yesterday? No.
It was not easy, but I did a little bit. So our guide this year for counting the Omer is this wonderful book called Omer Accounting by Rabbi Karen D. Kedar. Rabbi Kedar is a rabbi in the Chicago area, and she's written this wonderful book that takes us through each day of the Omer. There's a theme for each week, and then there's a meditation or a reading for each day. And the beauty of this book, we've used it a couple of years before, although we used a different source last year. The beauty of this book is that we are together as a community once a week, Friday evening and again on Saturday morning. And as you know, the Jewish day begins at sundown, so we are just starting day 7 as the sun sets, and we will count the Omer both tonight and again tomorrow morning for day 7. And so we can get 7 good years of use out of this book, because each year, the day that we are together tends to be a different year of the week, right? So we don't repeat, which is really, really wonderful. The theme for our first week is to decide. And Rabbi Kedar writes that when we are fearless, we fly. When we reach beyond our limitations, we grow. When we say yes to living, we live. And upon saying yes, possibility abounds. The possibility of reclaimed power, of self-realization, of abundant living, of becoming who we were meant to be. But we have to decide to do that. And so our thoughts for this week have to do with this idea of choosing, deciding. For today, she writes, I wonder, what if I removed the thin gray film that has covered my eyes? I wonder. And if I became determined, really resolved, what would I know? What would I see? And I wonder, how is it that inertia is more powerful than transformation? And why do I constantly settle when anything could be? And how is it that risk frightens me? Because staying the same is so unextraordinary. And I wonder if I dare to be, if I dare to decide. It's a commandment for us to count the mitzvah, to count the Omer. It's a mitzvah, a commandment for us to count the Omer. And so let's read this together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to count the Omer. And the count has a formula to it each day. We say, Hayom Shiva Yamim Shehem Shavua Echad La Omer. Today is 7 days, which is 1 week of the Omer.
We rise as we are able for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula le'otzer v'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
You may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And so it is our tradition that we think of those that we have lost, Those that we have lost this week: Elliot Troy, Julius Plus, and Francesco Chiapella. Those that we have lost in the last month: Kevin Bonilla, Wally Weiss, Florine Boxer, Ruth Patashnik, Shirley Garden-Schwartz, Elizabeth Lipper, Shanti Hazan, and Bradford Hammer, Nachum Dov Ben, Mordechai Lieb, Ve'eti Shendel. And we add their names to the list of those that we are remembering on this day because this is their yortzeit, or the anniversary of their passing. Max Arnold Abelman, Joanna Alexander, Pauline Americus, Stephen Elb Balkin, Ben Bellstock, Penny Barenbaum, Hyman Berland, Sandra Bernstein, William Bill Bernstein, Charles M. Borwick, Hattie Bram, Selma Cohan, Ethel Cindy Cohen, Willie Echt, Genevieve Feingold, Sidney Feldman, John J. Feinsilver, Marilyn D. Friedlob, Rabbi Gunther Gates, Robert Allen Gilbert, Dr. Joseph L. Glazer, Sandra Goldberg, Abe Goldberg, Harry E. Goldstein, Harriet Goodman, Ruth Garber Goodman, Ellen Sue Goodman, Jacob S. Gross, Rebecca Guzovsky, Seymour Mitchell Heller, Jack Himmelgren, Albert Israel, Rosemary Joseph, Eileen Kanowitz, Hirsch J. Katz, Maurice Kaufman, Richard Kaufman, Rosalind L. Kaiser, Anita K. Kurzinger, David S. Lehman, Minnie J. Lehman, Bernard Levine, Samuel Levin, Matilda S. Levy, Harriet Ruler Lewin, Adelaide P. Lowenstein, Victor H. Mayman, Wilmore Mayer, Theodore Philippi, Jack B. Ponzer, Robert Rossow, Ira C. Rothgerber, Raina G. Rothgerber, Samuel H. Schaefer, Abraham Schlesinger, Dr. Arthur Segal, Harold J. Siegel, Edith Smuckler, Donald E. Spiegelman, Ray Jacobs Stark, Paula Gladys Stryker, Louis Thalheimer, Gertrude Friedman Waldman, Harry D. Weissenberger, Clifford Mark Winter, Lori Marcia Wolf, Meyer Wolfson, Eugene Louis Zeitlin, Joseph Zarobnik, and Riva Zahn. We add 10 more from the city of Colleen, for whom our Finer Chapel is dedicated in their memory: Ada Fleischner, Dr. Richard Fleischner, Valerie Fleischnerova, Max Frankenbush, Eleonora Frankenbushova, Gustav Freund, Ivan Freund, Karel Freund, Oscar Freund, and Atta Freund. If there are others for whom you are saying Kaddish today, I invite you to share their names with us out loud. If you're at home, say them or type them or hold them. And I invite you, if you are in the first 30 days of mourning the loss of a loved one, to rise as you are able. And if you're in the first year of mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you are able. And if this Shabbat marks for you the yortzeit, or the anniversary of the passing of your loved one, I invite you to rise. And now we all rise as we can and stand together as a community and recite the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgarash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei uvyomei uvchayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ule'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, shemei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen.
And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen.
You may be seated for a moment. Well, here's the good news. Shabbat continues tomorrow. So our schedule tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning, Torah study with me on Zoom for anyone who wants to join us, or on Facebook or on our website, as always. And then at 11 o'clock, my brain's not working, we will have our community service in the chapel with myself and Steve Brodsky. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, who's first? Auden is going to celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah here in the sanctuary with Rabbi Black and Cantor Sachs. And then at 11:30, it will be Madison's turn. And so there will be lots of celebrating tomorrow. As always, the community things that are happening happen on channel 1 of our website or on our main Facebook page. And then on our B'nai Mitzvah page or channel 2, you can catch the B'nai Mitzvah if you want to watch from home. What else? I don't even know.
Check
the website.
We made it through the week. I think that's worth celebrating.
Yeah.
June 18th, mark your calendars. Big day here at Temple. We will be finally, after a couple of postponements, we will be finally honoring our beloved Rabbi Steve and Joyce Foster with our annual fundraiser featuring Super Diamond, the amazing Neil Diamond tribute band. So that will be on Saturday evening, June 18th. And there's sponsorship opportunities available. If you're interested in being involved, talk to Francie Myron, our Director of Development, or call the Temple office.
There's like a couple of things happening in between now and then, but they will all be on the internet for you to find. So you can check the website of the Eidos. Good?
Good. All right. Maddie, Auden, come on up. All right, you each get one of these. Here, I'll tell you what, go ahead and take that. Let's pull this out so that you guys can stand up here so that everyone can see you. All right, hold that up high. We've got the words to Kiddush right here. We'll join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Clink and drink. It's grape juice, so you can have all you want. Good? All right. Want some
Auden
more?
was really
Go
worried.
ahead.
He asked. Ready?
All right. Thank you, guys.
I'll hold this. You pull off. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, I guess Pesach is over.
Yes, it is. Now it's officially over. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. All right, you can each take one of those, share it with your family.
Or
you're,
don't.
You're officially breaking Passover now.
You can take that with you. You want a doggy bag?
All right. So you guys get a good night's sleep tonight. It's a big day tomorrow. And I tell all my students this, eat breakfast. Eat a good breakfast. Eat some protein because you're going to be standing up here for a long time tomorrow. So
Sell it,
we
Steve.
look forward to celebrating with you both. We will close with a favorite, Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Leid Nasa V'chevtzo Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra. Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hoveh, Vehu Yiyeh, Betifara. Vehu Echad, Ve'ein Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lehachvira, Ve'li Reshit, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Haos, Ve'hamisra. Ve'lu Eli, Ve'chai Goali, Ve'tzur Chemli, Ve'tzara, Ve'hu Nisi, Umanos Li, Benat Kosi, Beyom Ekra. Beyado Afkid Ruchi, Be'eti Shan Ve'aira, Ve'im Ruchi, Keviati, Adonai Li, Ve'lo ira, Ve'lo ira.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha. May it be your will, God, that we count, that we make days count, that we take this period of the Omer and let them count, each of the moments, good and bad. We don't have to erase. We don't have to erase what's hard in our world. We just have to add to it something better and something that will help us move in a direction where we live in a world of peace. And so we ask your blessing, God, tatzidenu l'shalom, help our steps be steps of peace. Tadrichenu l'shalom, guide us on paths of peace. As we say together, Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.